Good morning, guys. It is now Tuesday-ish. Yeah, it's Tuesday. I wasn't going to make a video about this, but I'm going to make a video about this because it probably needs to be talked about. Everybody that's still on the Trump train that hasn't seen what happened, the election wasn't stolen any more this year than it was any other year. It's just a continuation of the polarization of the country, keeping me and you and somebody else at each other's throats while they're up in D.C. doing whatever it is that they want to do. And you know this. Here, look at what Trump's done. You don't want to say that he is part of the deep state. There's no such thing as the deep state. It's called government. That is the deep state. They're all involved. He has now pardoned 50 people, something like that. All of those people he has had some kind of either business or political tie with. Yet we have Edward Snowden, the one and only fucking patriot of the country in the last decade or more. I'd say more. The only person that's put his life on the line in the more than the last decade that Trump won't pardon. I remember when the whole Edward Snowden thing happened. I remember seeing the news because I was back when I used to watch MSN. And they had a picture of him at the airport with his bags, saying that he was a spy, a foreign spy, and there was a lookout for him, and he's on the most wanted list and shit. Edward Snowden, he didn't open up the whole Pandora. He didn't open the box up all the way, but he gave people a lot of light into what was happening and what our government was doing and how it's spying on us. The past few days, I've been continually researching this Act of 1871 thing, and it's definitely opened my eyes up to a few things. It even further clarifies that they wanted to enslave us, and that we're even slaves now. You are literally, your land tax that you pay on your land is literally going to the crown. That's a 100% factual statement. You can verify it through documents, through legal documents. Whether or not they're constitutional is another story, but legal documents. They've done it all. They've dismissed the Constitution. The Constitution doesn't matter anymore, according to them. And they've done it legally. It's unconstitutional, but so that's why we need to enforce the Constitution and take our country back. But I think you all, if you haven't emailed, I don't think that emails and shit like that work for the majority of the time. We should all be bombarding the White House, demanding that Edward Snowden be pardoned. I mean, he should be able to come home. Dude's been in Moscow now for, 8 years? 7 years? If you don't know that much about the Edward Snowden story, go to JRE Clips. Joe Rogan has a podcast where Edward Snowden gets on there and just talks and talks and talks and tells about what he did. And, and he didn't even, when he first noticed what was happening, he didn't say nothing, He don't want to be the person that rocks the ship. And then he said there just came a point in time where he's like, this is just too much. This can't be justified in any way. There's ways to, that we've been scared with the terrorism shit for the last 2 decades. It's about keeping you safe from terrorists. We need to add billions of dollars into the military budget to keep you safe from terrorists. When the terrorists are the ones that are fucking controlling the military. Scary times are coming, people. I think 2021 will probably be the last year of my life. I was surprised I made it this far. I actually made a bet last year. If you go back, you will see the bet where I bet that I wouldn't live until January 1st of this year. And that was just expecting them to come to me. 2021 is probably going to open up a lot of people's eyes to a lot of things, to where they realize that there isn't much worth living for anymore. I mean, I have my family and my kids and my wife, but if dying means that they could actually be free, then I'm all for that. The Nashville bombing. Let's talk about that for a second. What happened in Nashville? Sorry, noise. We have somebody that drives an RV. They drive an RV downtown Nashville. It sits there and chants, I'm going to explode at such and such time for however long it did that, 30 minutes or whatever it was. After it explodes, they say that there were 3 people that were injured. But they don't talk about anybody dying. They don't say that anybody was killed. They don't, like if you go to any of the mass shootings where the shooter was killed too, they always say there was 29 deaths plus the shooter. Why? If they found evidence to say that he had died and that, why wouldn't they state that initially? And then they want to say that he had a deranged sense of what this 5G was about, and that was what this was all about. And then they go on to show experts after that telling you how safe 5G is and how they've used this technology for years, which isn't totally true. I don't know a ton about 5G. I do know enough about radio frequencies that I know that, you know, a microwave boils water using radio frequencies, microwaves. Scary shit. But I just found that odd, and Patriot Constitutional said the same thing. I mean, he and I talk all the time, but we never talked about that. We had the same thought, like, wait a second. It's been 3 days now, and you said about nothing about anybody dying. But that's why I did. And then you got all the idiots that want to hold the police up on a pedestal. They're heroes. These 6 brave souls. They're not brave. They're not heroes. They signed a piece of paper saying, I will do a job for this. They were ordered to go do something. They went and did it. My opinion on it is this, though. You know, they said they went and cleared these buildings and made sure everybody was safe. Well, they left 3 people somewhere because 3 people got hurt. If you was in one of those buildings and there's a 26-foot RV outside shouting at you, hey, I'm going to explode, you might want to run the fuck away. And they had to come tell you to leave, the world would have been a much better place if they would have left you where you were at. You're not that bright if they had to come tell you to leave with that thing sitting there telling you that it was going to explode. Especially when it was sitting there like it had the old, you know, here's a normal ride height. It had the old Detroit lean going on where the front tires were barely on the ground because it was so packed with freaking gasoline or whatever it was packed with. And it was a crude bomb too. You could tell by all the soot around. It wasn't any kind of, you know, it wasn't like a directional charge or any kind of professional explosives. And we've heard all kinds of stuff, people talking about this. Who knows? We will never know. That's the truth of it. We know what we are told, and that is it. And the vast majority of the time, what we are told is a lie. Just like the cops are heroes. They're beating it into you that all you need to, it's virtue signaling at its finest. These cops are heroes, and if you say otherwise, you're a bad person. You're probably a criminal. Well, I'm not a criminal, and I hate cops. You know why? Because nobody has any authority over me but me. I don't want to harm nobody. I don't want to steal nobody's shit. Leave me alone. But they won't leave me alone. There's a government bullet right now. Right now, there's a government bullet with my name on it in a magazine. Just waiting for the order. That's it. That's all it's going to take. But just some things to think about. Hope you guys had a great holiday. I'll probably make a video talking about mine. I had an interesting one, to say the least. Holidays are no longer about giving and spending time with the family. No. They're talking about political views and fistfights. Have a good day, guys.